What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about some of my favorite books that I've read that are perfect for this winter season, winter vibe. If that sounds like something you would be interested in, definitely stick around. It's reading time here at JBay's Corner. Let's get some of the romances out of the way because I will say that's the majority of most of these books. I just love a good romance during the holiday season. And with February being the month of love and kind of marking the end of the holiday season and Christmas just being such a joyous time of the year, holiday season vibes. For us also, it's right after Diwali, and then it's obviously you have all the major holidays that come up in December, New Year's. I tend to go more for that vibe of book during this season. So that being said, let me talk about those real quick, and then we will jump into some other genres as well. Let's start with the hockey romances. So the first one I wanted to talk about is actually by a very, very popular author. This book I think has popped up pretty much everywhere. The thing I love about this though is while it is hockey romance, which means there's gonna be spice in the book, I like the fact that the characters actually have development and they actually have a story to tell. Each character is also very unique in their way. I also like the fact that the female main lead in this one also struggles with some body issues, which was just relatable for me because I definitely struggle with that. And so it was something that I was able to connect to. I also think the main male character, who is a hockey player, was actually an absolute sweetheart. It was really nice to see his development as a character. So I really enjoyed Mile High by Liz Tomford. Now this series is the Windy City series. There are 5 books in total, and the last one released, I want to say earlier this year, which was The Right Move. So I do hope to get through the other books later on at some point in the year, but I can genuinely say Mile High was very sweet and I did enjoy it. It's basically following the story of a flight attendant who ends up falling for one of the hockey players on the Chicago team. Now, the main hockey player has had difficulty in his past with family and trusting other people, and the main female lead character has a very famous basketball player as a brother and just kind of wants to make it out for herself. She has a very convoluted relationship with her mother, struggles from some body image issues as we had discussed, and so she's also just trying to make her own way, and she doesn't want to fall into the arms of another rich man. So it's a very interesting storyline. The way that their relationship develops and actually grows throughout the entire book was fun for me to read. And I really did enjoy the genuine chemistry and the genuine banter between the characters as well. Another book that I absolutely loved for the Christmas season was a couple of the Laurie Gilmore books. Now, what I will say is the first book in this series, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, is very, very cute and it's very fun. And you do see references of all the different characters in each of the books in the series, but they can be read as standalone books as well. So that being said, The Gingerbread Bakery, which is the most recent book, which is following the story of a wedding during Christmas time, and The Christmas Tree Farm, as the name suggests, of a young woman trying to basically keep a Christmas tree farm up and running, were both very, very sweet books. They were fun to read, and I would say within the series, these are genuinely some of my favorite stories that have been written. The Cinnamon Bun Bookshop, not my favorite, and then the other one that I didn't really love was the one that came after The Christmas Tree Farm, which I think was the Strawberry Pancake House. But these two in particular I did think was really sweet. I think the characters were developed well, and the female lead characters are actually quite strong in their own right and very independent in their own right. This Gingerbread Bakery is a second chance romance, and then The Christmas Tree Farm is kind of Grumpy Sunshine vibes. But overall, it's just very, very sweet, and I did enjoy both of these books. And they definitely have that snowy holiday, small town feel. So if that's something you naturally want to cozy up with during the holiday season, you might want to take a peek at these. Not gonna lie, I was rearranging my stack of books because I realized there were multiple hockey romances that I wanted to talk about in this video, and I hadn't realized where I put them. But I have now found them, so let's talk about them. Becca Max, Consider Me. I fell in love with this book. Now, here's the thing. There is spice in this book, and I do feel like it's a little aggressive and it's a lot. But the nice thing is the chapters can be skipped. And if you choose to skip some of the spice chapters, you are not going to miss out on the story. It is a very large and rotund book, so because it is so many pages, 464 pages. This book is actually written in a way where you get a chance to truly get to know all of your main lead characters. The found family vibes in this book is unbeatable. It's happening during hockey season. It's set in Vancouver. You get to see our main female lead character, who is a hockey coach for a bunch of kids, and our main hockey player, who is the captain of his team and an utter and complete goofball, fall in love in this book. And it's the sweetest thing I have ever read. I love all the other characters and their development, and I love reading their individual stories as well. The final book in this series released this year, and it was amazing. I had so much fun reading that book, and that book was none other than Breathe With Me, which is the story of Emmett and Kara. Now, this particular book is following the story of Carter and Olivia, and one of the sweetest stories I've read. But again, be forewarned that there is spice. It is a typical hockey romance in that regard, but I really like the development of the characters that Becca Mack did with these books. The other book that I think is very popular within the hockey genre is The Deal. This is a solid 3-star book. There's nothing to write home about with this book, but it's not so overpowered by spice that there's no character development. I also think Elle Kennedy has a way of telling a story that really wraps you into the story itself, and you are following a bunch of kids on a college campus, so keep in mind you have to be thinking of them in that way. However, I think the beauty in The Deal is really the level of depth that the female character has, and the fact that the male character is so understanding and there for her. She is currently seeking to grow in her musical career, and she is also tutoring him in order for him to be successful so he can continue in his hockey journey. He just needs to be successful at being in hockey because he might get drafted. He's the captain of the team, and the two of them form an unlikely romance. This is very, very sweet. It's like the nerd girl and the hockey boy meeting each other, falling in love, and that storyline. The found friends in this is also very sweet. It's very heartwarming. I will say it is a typical hockey romance again, and the writing does suggest that, but still a beautiful book, and I do think it was very fun for a fun, fast, easy read during the winter holiday season. Next up, I have Icebreaker. Now, there are 3 books in this series, as far as I know, by Hannah Grace. This is a lot of spice, but our main character does go through therapy, and we see her kind of work through some emotional crises, some anxiety, some neurosis. We see her deal with a controlling relationship, not the main male character, but one of the other main male figures in this book. We see her come out of that. We see her growth. We see her relationship with her roommates, which is very cute to see. And the main male character and the female character together when they're forced to partner because of the unfortunate fact that the hockey rink for the hockey players has been closed down, and now the figure skaters have to share the hockey rink, was cute to read. The spice was a little underwhelming in this. Like, it was not well placed in my humble opinion. I also didn't necessarily love how animalistic the two characters are towards each other. I definitely appreciated the banter and the story buildup later in the book more, but I do think overall it was sweet, and there are certain male characters in this book that I definitely look forward to reading their book for, because they are slightly neurodivergent from what I can tell, and they're very interesting, loyal, friendly characters, and so that found family vibe is definitely there. So if that's what you're looking for this holiday season, definitely consider picking up Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Okay, so now we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to go into books that are still within the realm of romance, but separated from that hockey genre. So we're coming back into that area or arena of books. So the first one that I wanted to talk about is Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. This book is probably one of the sweetest books I have ever read. I love the author's writing style. Her language, the way she creates a picture is beautiful. Keep in mind the main female character needs development, but this is the author's first book, so we're going to offer forgiveness in that front, because I have read one of her other recent books that she put out, which is First Time Caller, which is based on Sleepless in Seattle, and that was absolutely adorable and to die for. She also recently released a book that is currently on my December TBR list, which is Good Spirits, which is a paranormal romance with a hint of Dickens in there while we're talking about ghosts of Christmas past and Scrooge-like behavior. And I just think it's going to be adorable. But B.K. Borison has a way with words. I mean, you can see how many tabs I have in here from the quotes that I wrote and I highlighted. So I'll even read one for you. I want Evelyn St. James to see all the things that made me fall in love with this farm that first winter I visited with my mom. When I was 16 years old and programmed to hate most things, but fell in love with the wide open space that smelled like balsam and orange slices and just a hint of cinnamon. I wanted to walk through the rows and rows of trees just as the sun is setting, where it's quiet enough to hear the way your boots crunch along the frozen ground, where pine needles tangle in your hair and you feel like you're the only person in the world. I wanted to get a hot chocolate from Layla's Bakehouse, go ice skating in the rink Beckett organized last winter, and watch the kids chase one another by the barn. I want her to see the magic. Like, you can literally visualize yourself being in this setting, and it just has such a warm, heartwarming winter vibe to it that it's absolutely adorable. This is the story of two best friends finding romance with one another. I will say again, it's a little difficult to read because our main female lead character is a little difficult. But that being said, I think that the writing only gets better from here. She has 4 books in this series. I've only read the first one. I do plan on reading the other ones, which are based on seasons. And then she also has the Sleepless in Seattle series that she's writing. The second one should be coming out soon. And then she just released Good Spirits as well. So absolutely love BK Borison. And I think she has a way of writing where you're really going to be transported into the season that you're looking for. So would definitely recommend Love Light Farms for the vibes. If you're looking for spice, hilarity, competition, and just second chance romance, this is it. This is it. How My Neighbor Stole Christmas is absolutely adorable. It's by Megan Quinn, who we all know is a very, very, very popular author in the romance genre if you read romance. And she did a phenomenal job with this book. Everything is related to Christmas. All of the competitions are related to Christmas. The best eggnog, the best cake, the best tree decorations. All of that vibe is 100% in this. We're also getting a second chance romance with our main female lead character, who was best friends with the young boy who lived next door, who is our now adult main grumpy male character. And the two of them basically are forced to reconnect and rekindle their romance while simultaneously competing against one another to get the title of the Christmas Kringle. And they are doing this in honor of our main female lead character's grandmother, who, woe behold, fell. And so therefore everyone is there saying, oh my God, grandma needs help. And so this young girl is basically coerced into coming back into town and then finds herself in the throes of this competition in honoring her grandmother while trying to rekindle the romance between herself and the boy next door. Very sweet story. Absolutely loved it. So, so, so cute. Laughed out loud, giggled out loud, smiled out loud. Hilarity, all in all. Spice can be skipped if you're not interested in the spice, but I do think in this one it was well placed. Overall, just a great book. The next book I wanted to talk about is In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. Now, this happens to be written by some of my favorite authors, and they wrote one of my favorite books of all times, which is Love and Other Words. And this is such a sweet story. This is basically a kind of like a body snatcher, repetitive, like Groundhog Day kind of vibes, like magical realism, if you will. And in this book, we basically have our main character who is finding herself in a loop, and she has to figure her way out. And in the process of doing this, she ends up finding romance. It is absolutely adorable. And then the same holiday begins over and over and over again with a nice bit of memory loss as well. Beautifully done book. Absolutely loved it. Loved it. I read this in a day. It was so perfect for the holiday season. Christina Lauren, I think they're just a phenomenal duo when it comes to writing, and genuinely cannot recommend In a Holidays enough. It definitely captures the Christmas spirit, and it definitely has that Groundhog Day hilarity to it as well. Perfect romance if you're looking for a fun, fast-paced romance. Maggie Knox is okay. She's not the best. She's okay, in my humble opinion. And I should rephrase that. Maggie Knox is an author who has been published and put out beautiful stories that have meaning to her. So we're not going to knock her in any way, shape, or form. I'm simply saying that these stories didn't necessarily speak to me, but they are solid 2.5, 3-star reads, and they are very Christmas heavy. Now in this book, we have two characters who are siblings, who are twins, who end up switching, and they have to survive as the other person, and they happen to find romance in this process. So cute, but again, very predictable. And then in this one, it has to do with two characters who are forced to basically pair up for a music video, even though they hate each other, and then end up finding romance through that. So enemies to lover, holiday swap vibes. Both of them are cute. Both of them are very appropriate for Christmas. It definitely has a Christmas vibe to it. But yeah, your typical romance reads, I would say about 2.5 to 3 star reads, but fun, fast-paced, easy reads if you're looking for something to fill your shelf for Christmas. Tessa Bailey's Wreck the Hall was also a very fun, sweet book. She is also the author of It Happened One Summer and other such books. She writes romances that are definitely on the spicier side, so please be aware if you do pick up this book that there is going to be spice in the book. But I do think overall it's a very well done Christmas vibe in this book. I'm just going to read the back because I read this book over a year ago, and I'm not going to lie, I don't fully remember the story, but I do remember that my book club really enjoyed it when we discussed it. Melody Gallard may be the daughter of music royalty, but her world is far from glamorous. She spends her days restoring old books and avoiding the limelight. One awkward tabloid photo was enough, thanks. But when a producer offers her a lot of money to reunite her mother's band on live TV, Mel begins to wonder if it's time to rattle the cage, shake up her quiet life, and see him again. The only other person who could wrangle the rock and roll divas. Beat Dawkins, the lead singer's son, is Melody's opposite. The camera loves him, he could charm the pants off anyone, and his mom is not a potential cult leader. Still, they might have been best friends if not for the legendary feud that broke up the band. When they met as teenagers, Mel felt an instant spark, but it's nothing compared to the wild, intense attraction that builds as they embark on a madcap mission to convince their mothers to perform one last show. While dealing with rock star shenanigans, a 24-hour film crew, brawling Santas, and mobs of adoring fans, Mel starts to step out of her comfort zone with Beat by her side cheering her on. She's never felt so understood. But Christmas Eve is fast approaching, and decades-old scandal is poised to wreck everything. The Steel Birds reunion, their relationships with their mother, and their newfound love. So very sweet, very second chance-ish vibes in this book as well. And this is coming back to me as I've read the back of the book. It is very sweet. I think it's a better version of the Maggie Knox book, which was All I Want for Christmas. But I do think it was perfect for the holiday season, written very well for the Christmas vibes. The characters are absolutely ludicrous. The mother in particular is hilarious with her cultish vibes and her crazy nonsense that she does. But just a fun book to read. The drama in it is also very cute and very well placed. Would definitely recommend for the holidays. Lucy Score, The Christmas Fix. Let's talk about another classic romance author, shall we? Lucy Score is probably one of my favorite romance authors. I just think she knows how to build characters and tell their story. Yes, some of her books have become a little repetitive, but this one is a little bit different. It is the second book in the series, but again, can be read as a standalone as well. This is a single dad trope. So basically we have a single dad who is the father of a young boy, and there is a woman who shows up in his town basically wanting to film the town and the repairs that are happening at the town to bring more awareness. He is skeptical because he feels like they're there for the wrong reason. And the renovation expert and reality TV star Catalina King has kind of always had a reputation of being that femme fatale, beautiful woman, kind of dramatic. And so he's not really sure he wants a celebrity diva around, especially when his daughter seems interested in her. And then slowly they begin to understand that the other person is not quite what they seem. Very, very cute, Grumpy Sunshine-ish vibes, very sweet Christmas vibes in this book for sure. And if you're looking for a holiday winter read, I don't think you can go wrong with a Lucy Score book. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit, still within romance, but not quite hockey romance or spice romance. This is a closed door novel, which I absolutely loved. And Sarah Morgan, I think, did a phenomenal job in this book. She has basically taken the story of 3 siblings and their Christmas together at their family home and has developed each of the 3 different characters and their relationships in detail. It also shows a young woman who is there by accident, basically showing up to try to get to the family's son to support their endeavor of keeping their company alive and promoting their product, shows up there by mistake and ends up snowed in with them. Then we have one of the female younger characters who is just trying to figure out what to do with her life and also rekindle a romance with an ex. And then we have a young woman who shows up who's always been very independent but has found her fiance and now doesn't really know how to navigate that space. The mother and father in this book are also very cute. It's all family dynamics in a snowed in Christmas vibe. Very, very cute, very, very fun. I really enjoyed this book. It brought warm feelings to my heart. And I just think the book overall was very sweet. It was one that has stayed with me since last Christmas, enough so where I picked up another Sarah Morgan book this year. So I definitely think she has a way of writing and telling a story. And it was really nice to read each of the different characters' perspectives and see them fleshed out in such a short book. Perfect, I think, for the holiday and Christmas season. Okay, we're going to switch gears again and we're going to move towards fantasy. Now, within this fantasy, I wanted to start off by talking about The Kingdom of Sweets. This is a retelling of the Nutcracker, a slightly darker version of the story by Erica Johansson. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. But basically what she's done is she has created twins. Now in the twins, one of them represents light and the other one has always been surrounded by darkness. One of them can always see the worst qualities in a person. One of them always sees the best in everybody. One is Clara, the other is Clara's twin. Now in this book, the Rat King, of course, makes an appearance. We have a hidden world of sweets that of course exists. We have different shades of positivity and negativity and a lot of social commentary in this book. I think it was very deep, very profound, very fun to read. And I also think that in general, it was a great retelling of the Nutcracker with a slightly darker twist to it. If that sounds like something you might enjoy, definitely consider picking up this book for the Christmas season. It is not one to miss. Third time's the charm. Let's see if this one works. We are going to talk about Gild next. This is my third time filming on Gild, that's why I said that. But this is a book by Raven Kennedy. It is set in a very cold, wintry climate, which is why I think it's perfect for the winter season. We are following the story of King Midas and his captives, Orin in particular. And as the story progresses, you get to see all the different magical systems in there. This definitely has a component of fae magic in there if you're into that. And as a fantasy series, it does span 6 books. The first book is primarily told from Orin's perspective. As we get into later books, you get perspectives from a multitude of different characters. We have a lot of character development that happens throughout the series, a lot of strong female lead characters in this book as well. And I think it's just very, very interesting in particular to watch our heroine's journey as she goes through the series. But I do think this is a fun read for the holiday winter time period, just because of the setting, the energy, the vibes. Just know this is a spicy series, so that is there. You can skip the spice. There are some trigger warnings with this book for sure, so definitely make sure you read those as well if you're not interested in books that deal with those particular trigger warnings. But overall, I do think this was a fun series and definitely perfect for that wintry vibe just because of the setting in the book. The next book I want to talk about is Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. Harry Potter is probably what started my journey in reading from when I was a little kid till now. I have reread these books so many times, it's not even funny. And I just think it's absolutely the perfect read for the winter holiday season, especially given the fact that J.K. Rowling really goes into detail with Christmas and the holidays in general. So would definitely recommend Harry Potter for a winter read, especially if you want a fantasy series that's just fun, cozy, and easy to lay down and just read on end. I realize this video is starting to drag, so I am going to start wrapping this up a little bit faster, speaking a little less about each book. But I did want to include some young adult books in here outside of just the Harry Potter. Fake Skating is a fun one. This is following a hockey team, a hockey play. It's happening during school. We have Bookish Nerdish Girl, and then we have the main hockey player romance situation. Second Chance Romance. Very, very sweet, very fun, easy, fast-paced read. I also have here, so this is Christmas. This is following the story of the rich boy who's super annoying, who happens to be stuck in the same small town as our main female character. It's a enemies to lovers trope. It is set during Christmas time in a Christmas vibe, and it's about them falling for each other outside of school, outside of their friends, when they're stuck in the same place at the same time. Of course, if you have read the Caraval series, that's always great. Also wonderful for winter as well, just because of the magic systems that are involved. But specifically, Spectacular was released to be set during Christmas, and we're following the story of one of the sisters trying to find the perfect present for her love interest. Very, very sweet book, very, very fun, fast-paced book, and definitely one that I think is worth reading during Christmas time if you haven't had a chance to read it yet in the Caraval series. I always have to mention this classic. I just feel like A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens is the original Christmas book. It's so much fun to read. And of course, this edition has multiple other stories in it as well. But specifically the story of Scrooge, there's a reason why that one has warmed the hearts of so many. And it's been a telltale story in so many different cultures and in so many different renditions. Even when you think of The Grinch, obviously inspired by A Christmas Carol as well, definitely think it's worth picking up the original. And then finally, going in a completely different direction, thrillers. I think it's always fun to pick up a thriller during the holiday season just to break up all the romance if you want to. The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley is a great one. This is set in a wintry background around New Year's, where a bunch of friends are basically gathering together and having to deal with the mystery of how a person died. You get a little bit of flashback here and there. Definitely a fun, fast-paced read. Other such books that kind of have the same vibe, Alice Feeney's Rock, Paper, Scissors is also a great option. This is also set in a wintry vibe. We have a couple that basically gets lost in the middle of a snowstorm, and they have secrets about each other that start coming out, and they're also getting haunted/hunted by another person that may or may not be there. Very entertaining read, fun, and it's definitely set in that wintry climate. And then to finish us off, The Most Wonderful Crime of the year is set during Christmas time as well. Two characters end up in the home of a famous author that they absolutely love and they basically want to be, and they find themselves basically trying to solve the mystery of a murder that has taken place. Wonderful, fun book to read. Very, very interesting, and it's very fast-paced. Perfect for the holiday season. And that does bring me to the end of this video. If you guys made it this far, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sitting through this ridiculously long video. But these are just some of the books that I read over the course of the past couple of years that I think are perfect for the holiday vibe. Definitely check them out if you have the time. For those of you that are new, I put out bookish related content every Wednesday and Sunday here in this little corner of the internet. If that sounds like something you may enjoy, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell. We would love to have you as part of the family. For those of you that are returning, thank you so much for being here. It means the absolute world to me. I'm so happy to have every single one of you here as you support me in growing this channel and this community. I love your comments. I love reading them. Definitely let me know what Christmas books have made your reading list this December. And outside of that, I just want to leave everyone with, I hope wherever you are with your family, that you guys are enjoying this holiday season, feeling safe and loved, and having plenty of time to sit down and read. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.